Verbz, Mac. Thank y'all for pulling up. We got Thesis April 3rd here at the Lollipop Shop, which is where we are at right now. Y'all have been doing the Thesis for over 10, 11 years, correct?
Almost 11 years, yeah.
What's that journey been like? How was the Thesis born? How did it come about?
The basics are Mac, myself, another man named Blake Hickman, who was working at KPSU at the time, and a woman named Janessa, who's a real dope style icon around here. We all came together essentially frustrated with what we knew as the music scene in Portland and the hip-hop shows we grew up going to. We went to so many showcases that were all dudes, all white dudes, 100 people on stage, everyone there's a rapper, no girls in the crowd. There's just so many problems with the shows that we grew up going to and performing at, and we hated the climate of it. And also, artists weren't getting paid, so what's the point of doing it? It just didn't. Yeah, we did it for years, doing tiny shows or getting paid almost nothing or artists would pay to get on shows, And so we wanted to fix the climate in our own way and start putting on people who we felt were important to the city and kind of do something similar to what The Fix did here in Portland for DJs. We wanted to do for rappers. So that was the birth of it all.
That's actually crazy that you say it like that, because that's literally what me and my friends have been talking about for probably 2-3 years, is the same kind of frustrations. I didn't know though about what you guys had going on. I had done the Thesis before, as you know, but I wasn't aware about how the show was run. But hearing what you're talking about, that's just dope to hear, because I didn't know. Because it's like you guys did what we've been trying to do years ago, and we didn't even know. So can you tell us a bit about why you got, what's sets you guys apart from all of the BS that's been going on, that you guys were experiencing, stuff that we have been experiencing apart from your show? Can you tell us a bit about that?
So, before we started the Thesis, I had already been throwing some shows around town, a few different things at the R.O.S.Y and stuff like that. We were doing events since 2005, maybe. I was doing events. So I kind of knew what it took to throw events, but I also knew that so many events fell into the same trap, right? So for us, what was really important, especially once we got going, was we wanted there to be an ambiance. We felt like we wanted to be downtown. There wasn't a lot of hip hop going on downtown. There were a few venues that were reserved, it was Satiricon and the Ash Street Saloon, R.I.P. on both of those. The people were scared of hip hop, and also the venues that we ended up in were always a black box. You just be on a really crappy stage that's really high up in a black box with terrible lighting, terrible sound. Nobody sound checked. If you did, it didn't even matter because just blah, 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 when you rap in the mic. So we were we need to have a good sound. We need to have some level of ambiance, whether that means the stage is being decorated or Verbz started doing the whole visual backgrounds, which no one was doing at that time. It was just us. People didn't have women on their shows on a regular basis. And at first, we didn't have women on every show. That came a couple of years in, but because we didn't know enough women to do that in the first place, which was part of the problem, right? We were we don't even know women artists like that. So we were but we want to rotate women through as often as possible. We want to reach out to gay artists and trans artists, which no one else was doing, and people were actually afraid to do that. It's going to ruin their brand. We were these are things that are going to not only set us apart, but also widen our customer base. And also, we always had a rule, if women aren't coming, we're doing it wrong. And if black women aren't coming, we're really doing it wrong, right? So if we're throwing shows and a bunch of dudes are showing up, that's not really that cool. If it's a bunch of dudes and some white girls, whatever, that's better, but we're still missing something. They don't go because they don't feel welcome or they don't feel they see a point. So if the shows that we're doing don't make sense to the people that we're trying to bring, we have to do something different.
I think the other things that we made sure to do is made it about the artists. So many of these showcases start as it's about the artist and me, or everyone can sign up, and then you get your stuff watered down because now whoever's fastest online to get up or who's paying attention on the right day is now on stage. And it doesn't always lend to the right artists. It also lends towards hustle artists over artists. Kids who go and pay to get on shows have a certain style about them, but maybe they don't have the artistry. We wanted to reach out to the art kids who didn't feel connected to the community and also make them feel welcome. And I think by widening our audience and who the artists were that we were bringing on stage, we just kept growing. The other thing we didn't do is put one crew on stage and then hope that new people would show up. You know, like it has to be these cross-pollinated crowds. So that's why we never just put like you and 3 your boys on, because it doesn't grow your crowd at all. Like, well, who's that benefiting? Yeah, exactly. You can do it at your house. I'm trying to bring 4 different groups together and at 4 different levels, right? So I'm looking for somebody who can open the show. It doesn't always mean it's like the worst artist or they're just beginning. Honestly, it means I can count on them. Because well, and also just to start the night is hard. Like, you know, you got to manufacture energy sometimes, and if I can put somebody on stage first who can manufacture that energy, then I found the right sauce. You know, like it's all gonna come together. And I want to elevate people from the earliest stages to being headliners, and so we want to do that growth. We want to see that growth. Like, you know, Victoria Yabut got like a 10-minute set like 3 years ago, and then she did and then she did you know, like an opening set, and then she was like middle of the set, and then she headlined. And that's what we want to see out of our artists, is like we want to watch you on that trail of growth and see her develop all the way along the line. That's what we want to see from all of our artists. As
a former rapper, I didn't get paid a lot. I have people I still don't like because they didn't pay me my $75 or whatever it was for a show, right? I don't talk bad about them because I'm old now, but you know, it was super important for us to like make sure that we charged at the door. We started at $5 and make sure that all the money went to artists. Like, I don't take money out, and only the artists are taking money out, and that's like super important. I have people and they're like, "You don't get paid for this," and I'm like, "No." Like, you do a lot of work, and I'm like, "I don't perform." You know what I mean? So like, I'm gonna make sure they get paid. If I'm taking money off top, that just cuts out. I don't want to pay you $25 to rock from doing $5. That was $20, right? So when we come in, like, I could take a couple $100, but it wouldn't really hurt that much. But those artists would miss that money, and I would rather have artists be like, I want to be on that show again, or hey, how do I get on that show and get paid, than just have shows where people don't actually trust us.
Tell us about your personal journeys, so that people are aware of you're not just the Thesis. Neither of you are. So yeah, tell us about each of your personal journeys, and then we'll get into the real nitty gritty.
I was just a hip hop kid from a real early age. I wanted to be a DJ as a little kid. It was what I loved about music. My dad loved music and was a musician himself. He wasn't into hip hop, but you know, R.O.S.Y and Run DMC comes together for Walk This Way, and we bridge some worlds together. So, you know, I did the whole thing. I did breakdancing, did graffiti, DJing, rapping, doing shows like that, you know, because all those things are cheaper than being a DJ. So you do all the cheap options first, and then eventually I got myself some turntables and did it. I started out doing rockin' parties here in Portland, and then I started backing up artists, and I started working with an artist named Taupe, who's now a producer for that artist R.O.S.Y, and also, you know, many other artists. Yeah, he was in a group called T&E. And then I was also DJing, opening shows, and being the house DJ for shows. I got to open up for everybody from Wu-Tang Clan to Lib Kweli to Big Boy, Lil Brother, kind of just anybody that you can. Snoop Dogg, Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi Vert. So I've been at it for a long time. I got to do a lot of these things, and it's really what I thought was what I could do is give back to the city and the Black community here in Portland. Gave me a family and a community to live and work within, and really this is one way that I can help to give back to not only just Black artists, but people who love this music and care about it in the same way I do.
I mean, Verbz is the realest one, to be honest. I wasn't even looking for a white DJ. I was looking for a Black DJ. Verbz knows this, but he came in, I was like, yeah, we can do this. I might have to cycle it out. And then he came in and killed it, and I was like, yeah, I already knew Verbz. I knew he was mad cool. I didn't know him as well as I know him now, obviously. But after the first show, I was like, he gets it. He gets it. Like, this is it. He gets it. I don't need a Black person. He gets it. Like, he's here. He gets it. He never tries to be Black, and I love that. Like, he just is himself and respects people, and like always gives back to the Black community. Like, who says that? What white person's like, I give back to the Black community? Like, only person to say that, and it's like totally normal. Myself, I was a hip hop artist. I was doing raps, You know, I came out of the Seventh Science crew. I grew up with Sand People and Old Dominion and all those guys, and we competed with them. We competed with the next generation. We competed with the younger generation. And then I was in my 30s, and I was like, you know, I'm 32. I'm doing this journalism work now, doing We Out Here magazine. I don't need the rap so much anymore. So I started working on the journalism side of it, you know, writing for the Oregonian, writing for the Mercury at the time, writing for Vortex and Portland Monthly. And I was just kind of doing like hip hop journalism and culture work. And then I was like, I want a hip hop show. And that's kind of just how we got there. I wanted a hip hop show, and I was down at Hungry Hip Hop, which God bless is still around. It wasn't regular, but it was. They still do stuff there, right? Down at the Atlantis Theater, the pizza shop, right? So I remember I was just down there, and I ran into Fontaine and Young Daylons, and he, you know, before he was Shirty, and Chance, and Matt Randall was down there, and a few other folks, and they was having a show, and I was just blasted, and I was feeling it, and I was like, man, I want to recreate this same vibe for a monthly though, and I want to do it with the college. And I started reaching out. I think I put something on Facebook, and Verbz hit me up like hella fast, like, yo, I would be down for that. And I was like, really? You're kind of a big deal. Like, you were for Wu-Tang last week. I don't know if I'm ready for this, but it all worked out really well. PSU hit me. I was trying to get U of O. Portland State hit us up, Blake. And then Janessa actually came to a meeting with the Daylons and them at Daylon's house with a Fontaine. He didn't even have an album yet. He hadn't even done Black Sushi yet. And just showed up because she knew Fontaine was doing like some management for him, and was like, you guys need a vibe. You have no vibe. You're a bunch of dudes. You have no vibe. And I was like, you're right. And that's how we got started. So I mean, like, I was just doing the things I do, just working in the community, trying to be, you know, a hero for the hood. And the show just came around, and it's just part of the portfolio now.
You used to be an artist yourself, but you found more love in the journalism side of things and the culture and whatnot. You still DJ, but this show is like, kind of like something different, I believe, than what you were used to before. So what advice would you have to artists about just like finding their place in the community?
I think one thing that I'm always rooting for is people to find that pathway regardless of what it is. So many people start out on doing raps, and I'm like, cool, I like what you're saying, I like your music, but they also have so many other talents, and they start exploring those talents, and I start seeing them, and all of a sudden now they're a videographer and they're actually making money. Just finding your own pathway in the space that makes you useful and benefits the community. Being an artist is about expressing yourself and making sure that you have that space to do it. So I would never discourage people from, you know, expressing themselves in those ways. I just want people to find the space in which they can maximize all their potentials. And if that's rap, cool. And if it's not, we don't always need another rapper. We got plenty. But also we could use people who really look at the community and want to build it and help support it. So I'm always encouraging people to maybe let down some of the ego that is involved in like thinking you have to be one thing or another, and looking for a space in which you really are that member of the community that you want to be.
Advice-wise, I would tell, you know, artists, don't be afraid to get a job, bro. Like, it's real. Like, people be like, oh, I want to be a starving artist. Bro, you got to feed yourself, and you got to feed your kids. You will not succeed trying to struggle in Portland. That is not the look. Go get a job and write. If you love it, you're going to do it. I mean, when I rapped, I had a full-time job, sometimes 2. I was working 60 hours a week and I was rapping. So, I mean, like, if you love it, you're going to do it. And I don't rap now, but I found a different way to express that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, I feel like there's a bad rap that people get from, like, jumping into hip hop as, like, the lowest common denominator, the easiest way to get into music. And then all of a sudden they're a rock star or whatever. You know, the whole, like, what's his name? The one face tattooed artist. Post Malone gets a lot of heat for that kind of stuff. And it's kind of whack when they do it, honestly. But, like, don't be a culture vulture, but don't be afraid to move on, like Verbz was saying, to something else. Like, it's okay to be like, you know what? I've been doing these rap shows, but my videography and social media production is really on point, and I could do this for other artists. Don't hide your skills from people. Use them. Like, Victoria Yabbit is another example again. She was doing makeup for Win and other hip-hop artists, and that's kind of how she got her in. Kanye was a producer, before he was a rapper. So not to say be like Kanye, but I'm just saying, you know, if you want to be a successful artist, sometimes you have to sell the thing that you're best at, and not just hide that to try to show yourself as a rapper. Because one thing people don't want is another rapper. I don't want to hear another rapper if I don't have to. I'd rather hear something else or something that's new to it. So don't just be a rapper just to be a rapper. Be a rapper who brings something new.
Okay. Got me evaluating life. Okay, so
When what we're looking for artists is always like who are putting their passion into it and showing it, and you know, we're looking for people who have projects coming out. We have people who are putting their everything into those projects. Man, we're hitting Vicky hard, but Victoria, Yaba, and I, we did 3 fucking rehearsals for that last thesis. That never happens for the thesis, but it happens because she's passionate and she cares about it like that. And I love when I see a passionate artist like that. Like, I'm not gonna do 3 rehearsals with everybody, but you know, like, I'm definitely down to make sure that I can make you a better artist. I definitely want that. So, like, you know, maximize your resources and you know, when you put in the effort and time to make something, like, put your energy behind it. That shit is not over when you release it. That shit is just beginning. Like, it's not new or it's not a hit until everybody fucking knows it. It's not burnt out until everybody knows it. So don't worry about it. It's I understand there's the like anxiety about making new music and you want to get it out and you want to just move on to the next thing, but like, make your music that you're spending your heart and soul on work for you.
Anxiety dropped 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Doechie's Anxiety dropped 3 years ago. It's just now going platinum. So like,
Chappell Roan's album, the one that she really gets the Grammy for, came out the year before. But you know what I mean? So it may take time. It takes a second to burn, but like, I am always upset when I see an artist who just like has so much content I never saw it, and I'm like, how did this all get out? And like, you didn't put any energy behind it. And maybe there's an algorithm at play, but I'm checking for it. You got to put the energy and effort behind the pieces that you're making.
okay, so since we're here, this is a question I think for me too. What would be your best advice for artists to be able to do that? Like, when it comes to, because a lot of artists, it's like they know how to post, but they don't know how to promote. You know what I mean? So what would be your best advice for that in order to be able to reach people like you, who obviously you guys are checking for it, but like maybe there's some people in your positions who aren't really always checking. They just want to see what's popping or whatnot. How can they get more of their stuff to like work for them?
I mean, the first thing I can think of is staying connected within my community, your community, whatever it is. But like, if you're not going out to the shows and if you're not connecting with the other artists around town and supporting them, more than likely you're not gonna get hurt by everyone because you're sequestered, you're off somewhere. But if like 3 or 4 different groups are posting your stuff because you've connected to 3 or 4 different groups, because you've gone out to those showcases and you tried to meet the people who run that shit, like, you're gonna find benefit from that stuff. Like, it's not gonna say that you're gonna get on a show just because you got something dope, but it sure as hell will help if you go out and connect with the people, because I can get 100 DMs that look the same and they all are like, check out my latest reel, and it go leave support, copy, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll check that later. But if somebody hits me up with something personal and is like, hey, I came out to the show, I had a great time at the show, what can I do? Or they ask me a question, not going, hey, can I be the headliner next month? That shit will never work. Literally never work. And you can't say, can I sign up for your show? Because you don't even know well enough about my showcase to know there is no sign up. But if you're not going out and like trying to meet people in person, in real life, not just to get in their DMs, then you're gonna have a hard time, because so many of us are like, you know, if you're in my face, it's so much harder to ignore than a DM.
I mean, the best advice is just be good. Be good at what you're doing. And it's easier to say yes when people are good. When people are bad, it can be hard to say, no, I might like you, but your music stinks. And I'm like, talk to Verbz, you know?
And I say talk to Mac. This is exactly what I do.
We do this all the time. Like Verbz said, you gotta show up. And when you show up, it's good to show up and say hi. Make sure I know who you are. Make sure Verbz knows the people that you're looking for, not just us, people that you're looking for, but also like click up, make some friends, be in spaces with other artists who are doing things. Like no one artist does anything by themselves.
Can't do it on your own.
Like there are no artists who are like, I mean, like I'm trying to think of an artist who just like makes all their music from scratch. Like maybe Eminem sometimes, like I don't know, and I hate those albums that he did. Prince, but you're not Prince, right? Like you're not Prince, bro. You cannot play every instrument. It's not gonna happen, right? So unless you are that person, you're just like really that talented and you're like that dynamo, like. I mean, I think of like great like musicians that are local. I think of like Wavy Joseph, right? Like he's like really, he can do all, he makes beats, he performs, he can cut, he can edit, he can do video, he can do all that stuff, right? And he still is constantly in collaboration because you don't have time. Even if you have the talent, unless you are, like I said, like unless you're like Prince and you just wear purple all day and stay at your house and perm your hair and just like talk like this and make music and no one's around you except like this baddies all the time. Like, I don't know who lives like that. So you have to have friends. You have to have people who also, not just friends who are cool with you, but I feel like honestly, if I see an artist that has no click, I'm like his own people don't trust his music.
Say it again.
Why do I have to listen to your music and put you on stage if your own friends don't show up? You come out to the show by yourself every time. Your friends aren't like, oh yeah, he's the guy. Most artists that I put on, like Gemini's on this coming show, right? People kept hitting me like, bro, have you heard Gemini? Have you heard Gemini? He cut his hair. I didn't know who he was anymore. I couldn't find him. Then he hit me up. I was like, oh, bro. I was like, wait a minute. Gemini, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, bro, I've been checking your music though, actually. Like, it's solid. Because oftentimes I'm just like at work and something pops up on my Instagram. I'm like, that was hard, but I'm not going to find it again. So if you keep coming around, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute. I've been seeing your music. You've been doing cool little videos. He's not shooting the videos. Someone else is shooting the videos, right? Because he has friends. He's not in a band by himself. He has a band because they all believe in each other. That means they're doing something good because someone believes in you, right? I don't want to be the first person to believe in you. Don't make that my job. I'm not your dad. I have kids, you know?
There are other showcases for that. You can sign up for them. You can go do your one song. You can meet your friends. This isn't where to do that.
I'm not going to book you with 12 other rappers so I can see who's good.
With Gemini specifically, we had 3 artists in 3 months in a row have Gemini on their guest list. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I gotta know who this dude is. So then I go and peep for the music. So like, it was because he was connected that I started going, I'm like, oh, wow, he's really got a lot of elements working for him. And I like he's saying like that team around him, that means he's got trust and he's putting his energy and effort into it. And if I know you're just doing it like one Sunday every 3 months and it's just you rapping in by yourself in the bedroom, I can't get behind it because you're not behind it. Like I gotta spend a month talking about you, and I gotta come up with ways to write about you and post about you and make a video for you. And I'm like, if I can't figure out who you are, and by the time I like talk to you, then I don't know how I'm supposed to support you. Like, you know, don't come at me with an Instagram account that has 1 post and 0 pictures of who you are and 0 music and tell me you're dope. Yeah. I can't trust that. So like I gotta see, like he's saying, I gotta see at least one person believing in you. You know, see that energy. It can't just be your mom. Your mom's coming out to that show anyway, and we'll let her on the guest list. But it can't just be your mom. So like, or your girlfriend, and I'll know because she'll be in the front row and she'll know every word. I'll know. We'll know who she is. So yeah, anyway, those are the things that I look for, is somebody who's putting packages together that understand branding, understand that like they really want to do it at another level. And so I can get behind them because I know they want to do it at another level.
And it's not just about the greed either, right? It's not just about like, oh, we want you to come to our show and be like a full package. It's like, if I bring you to the show, we expect you to bring people out because that's how people get paid. Everyone here is depending on the next person to bring people so everyone can get paid, right? That's like my little socialism plug right there for the show, right? Like, if you come out and bring 30 guests out, and you bring 30 guests out, and I bring 30 guests out, and that dude brings 5, bro, you messed up the rotation. You know what I'm saying? So we need, even if you're not the best artist on earth, do you have some motion? If I can see some motion, then I can make a case for you.
Is there anybody who is around town who you guys are really like getting behind, like you really want to shout them out, you want to tell them like, yo, I got my eyes on you, you're doing your thing, like good shit, or somebody that you want to work with in the future?
I mean, I feel like most people that have been on the Thesis stage, especially the last couple of years, we're definitely trying to get behind. If you see someone on the stage twice, you know we're trying to get behind them. Off top of my head, I mean, it's always you. You know, we like what you do. I like how you rap, and I like how you sing too. So now I'm like, I want to see how this all comes together, right? So like that's why we were like we're kind of excited about this for real. Obviously, Victoria is the one that we feel like we kind of broke her out, and we support. You know, we always will. We always support Swiggle, Lambo, definitely our guy. You know, we definitely rock with Lambo. He's been our guy. You know, Vina, Wavy. Have always been staples for us. Who's newer? Rachel Wong, bro. Like, she's been killing it. Like, example of like how to do social media. Yup. How to show up and be everywhere. Yup. With the little rag on, like looking like a crip. She gets it. She gets it done, bro. She gets it done, right? So like, I love artists who are showing up, who don't just be like, oh, I haven't been on Thesis. I've done a show in 6 months since last Thesis. Like, no, do more shows, do more stuff, be out here, be active. You know, there's so many artists who are doing their thing, and I just want to support as many as I can, honestly. And I'm really into the artists who are themselves, the ones who talk about the things that they're doing in their life, and who are trying to resonate with people who relate, and not just people who are just trying to make a sound.
Right now, I'm just really want to shout out people who do things for the community. So shout out Refugio. He's done a lot of photos for us lately. He's also a dope rhymer who really gets political and really says that shit. And there's not enough artists in the city who take that route. And I'm always pleased to have somebody like that in the community. Now, this is totally not even within the like rap world, but I have to give love. We can't do an interview and not mention Casso De Niro. So Casso De Niro's our graphic designer. He does all the posters for us. Essentially, every poster that we've had since, you know, like 2015. I've done a couple in between, and look, you'll know which ones I did and which ones he did. So like, the thing is, like, there's somebody like that who's just constantly working for the community. He does posters for everybody. He's doing art for everyone, album covers. Like, they're doing a one-off event. They're doing a new taco stand. He's doing that shit. So like, I love Casso De Niro for everything he does for the community. I'd be stupid to not. Man, it's so hard. There's so many people.
Even if we go to people who shoot us people all the time, I mean, I gotta shout out, you know, like Blossom. She always sends us artists when she's like, hey, I got this new person. She doesn't really do music the same way she used to.
Karma Rivera. We got to shout out Karma Rivera. Karma Rivera came at us with El Thesis, which was our all Spanish-speaking showcase that we did in February, which was so dope and such a great thing for us to do and go, why the fuck haven't we done this? So, like, I love when artists care about things like that. Like, she just did that to put people on. Like, she wasn't trying to get herself on, and I always appreciate an artist who's trying to get other ones on. Vina Baby just dropped like 6 names in my bucket of all these kids who are like coming up, who aren't even 21 yet. And I'm like, all right, so I gotta pay attention to these guys. And
Marquee.
But we have so many people that we can tap in within the community who care about what we do here and like love us and love this space coming together like that. Wavy Joseph just brought us Bay Wave, you know, like there's always people who are putting us on to new artists, and it's
Kobe brought us Zaya Bell.
Come on. And also Dre Slaps with that. There's so many people around the city who make sure that we're always staying up on new artists, and
Yellow Trash Can hits us up all the time with suggestions.
There's so many names, but we count on the community. Because we're a part of it, we can rely on the community. We have people who love us and will check in with us, and maybe we don't see them for 6 months, or we don't see them for 4 shows or whatever, but they always come back. And this is why I love this space, to be able to get together and make sure that the city has something like this. Not every city has something like this. I've done shows all over the West Coast. I've struggled to find cities that show love within the community like this. Even bigger, cooler cities. You can't find it all the time. So like you got to find people who do it for love, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you guys so much. I still have questions I want to ask you, but I want to make sure that we get out of here so that you can get out on time. So we got Verbz, we got Mac. Thesis, April 3rd here at the Lollipop Shop. Make sure you're here if you want to find spaces like the ones that they described for the community, where artists are really like in love with what they do and in love with helping to build a platform where we can all kind of thrive and everything like that. So thank you guys very much. We're gonna get out of here, and Yeah, you have just.
You singing? You singing now?
Tell them about me.
You've been rapping, and I remember when we first booked you, because I was like, Verbz, have you heard this guy Wait? And he was like, I've heard of him. I was like, oh, he be rapping, like like how like I like rapping rappers. Like, you don't always get good rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like you get like people who rap, but they don't say nothing. And we were like, oh no, he's out here doing it. Like he's doing this thing, right? Like he's doing this. I like it. And we booked you, and you killed it. And now like you're expanding on that. And now like you're doing like journalism. I was telling you earlier, like I see it because that's like what I was doing. I wasn't singing though, but but like. Stepping into like the things that you do and the things that you're good at, knowing that you're personable, that you can reach out to people, you interviewing us before you get on our show, like that's taking a step and being creative, and like that's the kind of thing that we're looking for when we look for artists. And I think that most people who are doing bookings and who are looking for like ways to connect the A&Rs out there, that's what they're looking for. Someone that stands apart because of their talent, not because of their schemes.
Thank you, man. That was more than I could have asked for. Yeah, man. Thank you. You heard him. It's me. You heard him. All right. I'm out here. Matter of fact, Thesis, you want to get on, talk to me? No, I'm just playing. But thank you guys so much. Have a good one. And we gonna get out of here. You have just witnessed a dope ass random convo. Peace.